My best friend Sam was raped by a man that we knew because he worked in the after-school program. And he held her down with her textbooks beside her, and he covered her mouth, and then he came inside her. So now I'm with Sam at the place with a plan, waiting for the results of a medical exam, and she's praying she doesn't need an abortion. She couldn't afford it, and her parents would, totally kill her. It's 2002, and my family just moved, and the only people I know are my mom's friend Sue and her son. He's got a case of Matchbox cars, and he says that he'll teach me to play the guitar if I just keep quiet. And the stairwell beside apartment 1245 will haunt me in my sleep for as long as I am alive, and I'm too young to know why it aches in my thighs, but I must lie. I must lie.
Africa Unite convener Wangeshi Wachira, while addressing the media in Nakuru, said the national and county governments have a duty to bring justice to victims of rape and domestic violence to ensure such incidents do not recur.
We demand investigation and prosecution of the perpetrators, and we demand that the office of the DPP to take decisive measures to end all forms of violence, be it to our children, our daughters, our mothers, our grandmothers, and our boys in the country.
Rape is basically unlawful sexual intercourse or any other sexual penetration of the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person with or without force by a sex organ or other part of the body or an object without the victim's consent. Case scenario, the day and date we are in right now, we've normalized doing some invasive behaviors to one another because we think we own their bodies or we are entitled to them. Such entitlement is because of some titles we hold in their life or positions of power we have. For instance, you're in a relationship with someone. It doesn't give you the right to be sexually involved with them or touch them inappropriately without them consenting. The many cases that have been reported are usually downplayed due to male chauvinism in cases like, she was drunk, why not? I had paid for her food. She was dressed provocatively. She was sending me signals. These are simply lame excuses the victimizers give for their actions. In all the scenarios above, there is no point where the girl told you, okay, it's fine to do so, or okay, I am allowing you to do so. People need to be aware that it's human decency and courtesy when having sexual relations with someone. They need to be conscious so that they will be able to understand they've consented to it if anything happens. Definitely, ladies aren't saints here. I'm sure you've heard of men having their drinks spiked and waking up in a lady's arms and the ladies claiming they forced them to go. Ladies beating up men because this person is too soft or they are vulnerable. It shouldn't be a situation to shy away from you as a man that something like that happened or you are defiled at a certain age.
It's 2012 and I'm dating a guy and I sleep in his bed and I just learned how to drive and he's older than me and he drinks whiskey neat and he's paying for everything. This adult thing, it's not cheap. We've been fighting a lot, almost 10 times a week, and he wants to have sex and I just want to sleep, but he says I can't say no to him. This much I owe to him. He buys my dinners, so I have to blow him. He's taken to forcing me down on my knees and I'm confused because he's hurting me while he says please. And he's only a man and these things he just needs. He's my boyfriend. So why am I filled with unease?
So we need to slowly understand that consent is key in everything. If someone says maybe, that's a no. If someone is unsure, that's a no. No matter the situation you are in, it doesn't give you the right to take advantage of them. Let's take, for instance, a 5-month-old being raped by their uncle or an 8-year-old being raped by a teacher in school. And yes, I notice I'm only focusing on girls. It's because they're the most reported cases, but also boys do go through this thing. Basically, either introduction to intimacy at an early stage by the households they're left with, or even parents' friends. And you know these are people you look up to protect them. So while doing this is a child and did not understand what she's doing at the moment. But it tends to affect how they view people later on in life. These things affect you mentally, physically, and also emotionally. But people never tend to think about all these consequences you make people go through. Scenario, you rape a 5-month-old child. You can't say the child was dressed indecently. The child was drunk, and right there, and even you as a parent or as a guardian, what gives you the right to do that to your child? The number of cases of sexual assault or rape or any other form of defilement have actually risen in the recent years, which is not such a beautiful thing because people have known, I will do this to someone and no action will be taken against me because victims usually feel ashamed, embarrassed, or feel like people won't believe them. How do you start explaining to someone, okay, this and this happened to me, or my parents has been doing this and this to me? That always seems like a lie because most times we believe adults or people older than us are always right in comparison to the child, which is not such a good thing because the child might be telling the truth, but you tend to side with the victimizer. So for instance, out of let's see 100 cases that are reported, how many do you think are solved? How many do you think people sweep under the rug because these people who did this to them are family, friends, people they know, and not just because it's a stranger? From when will ladies be allowed to put on a short dress and go out and not feel insecure? How long will it take for us to just look at how everything goes and be like, okay, what if I raised my son or daughter better? Wouldn't it make the world a better place?
Hundreds of people gathered in front of the office of the Inspector General in Nairobi, chanting "No more rape and justice for Liz." Liz is the nickname that was given to that 16-year-old teenager. She was walking home from her grandfather's funeral in the western part of the country when, according to a local Kenyan newspaper, she was assaulted by 6 men. She was gang raped, beaten, and dumped into a sewage ditch, left for dead. She was crying out. People in the area, people that lived around there, heard her and managed to rescue her, but she is, however, now wheelchair bound. It is a case that has sparked nationwide outrage, a petition gathering over 1 million signatures, and then, of course, that demonstration. But this is about so much more than just one individual case. Human rights, women's rights activists say that they really need to begin to fundamentally change the country's mindset.
When will people start learning that it wasn't really their fault what happened to them and not feel guilty about it? Why would you want someone's child asking and questioning their decisions like that? Why would you want to interfere with someone's mental health and damage them, clearly knowing that they will never be the same again? All in the name of, I was horny at the moment. That doesn't give you a right to do that. And it's really inhumane to do such things. Groping someone's ass on the road is no longer considered a sexual assault, but it is. It's the fact that people are so used to it happening to them that it doesn't seem like it's anything major. You walk on the street and someone decides, some decide to catcall you and make you feel uncomfortable. There is also someone who decides to walk in the way, like you have big boobs, and they decide to touch them. They're on a girl's body, and so they happen to be hers and not everybody's. People never understand that even if someone wears a bikini or walks naked, it does not make you or give you the chance to touch them. It does not give you any right to hold them. It is as simple as learning self-control. You will realize that even in relationships, a lady might beat up the husband, but the guy was raised well and cannot lay a hand on a lady. He sits there and takes it because if he goes outside and tells anyone about it, they laugh at him and tell him, "Man up, brother." The country as a whole needs to implement a justice system. No, you need to change the whole system, because how do you tell me that I know this guy, he was my rapist, I see him walking every day freely, and nothing has ever happened to him? Even if I reported the case, nothing will be done against them. I mean, our system is rigged. We need to change this.
It's 2017 and I live like a queen, and I followed damn near every one of my dreams. I'm invincible and I'm so fucking naive. I believe I'm protected because I live on a screen. Nobody would dare act that way around me. I've earned my protection, eternally clean. Until a man that I trust gets his hands in my pants, but I don't want none of that. I just wanted to dance, and I wake up the next morning like I'm in a trance and there's blood. Is that my blood? Oh, hold on a minute. You see, I've worked every day since I was 18. I've toured everywhere from Japan to Mar-a-Lago. I even went on stage that night in Chicago when I was having a miscarriage. I mean, I pied the piper, I put on a diaper and sang out my spleen to a room full of teens. What do you mean this happened to me?
Consent. You've probably heard this word over and over and over again. And by now, you're probably tired of hearing it, right? Don't be tired. You know, rape is a prevalent thing that is affecting each and every person in this generation. Rape as an act not only happens outside marriage, but also within, when one partner is denied their conjugal rights. They end up being offended and may inflict pain on the other partner. In my opinion, rape goes beyond dressing. It's all in the mind. You cannot come up and tell me that a 2-month, 5-month, even a 9-month-old child is raped just because of how they've dressed up. It's all in the mindset. Mindset changes everything. We as human beings need to be responsible for our actions. Every choice that we make has a consequence. You've probably heard this phrase, every choice you make results into something. I feel like we need to create a safe environment. Actually, we ought to create a safe environment. Don't be stopped, or don't stop yourself from doing something because you are afraid of serving a jail term. Instead, don't do it because it is just not right. In this case, let your mind, let your heart speak to you and tell you that what you're about to do is going to change someone's life forever. As a human being, it is in our nature to reason. Ask yourself, would I be pleased if the same thing were to happen to my sister or any woman I am related to? No, then don't do it. Don't even think about it. This is not a matter that is up for discussion. Just don't do it. Period. All I'm saying is, do what you would want to be done unto you or anyone related to you. This is our world. The world isn't defined by the tall buildings or flashy cars. It is defined by the people that live in it. So if the world is termed as wicked, it is not the buildings or the cars that are wicked. It's the people living in it. But do you know that all that can change? If we are committed to making the world a better place for everyone. A safe environment for all is all that we really ask for. Is that really too much to ask? I believe not.
We have our priorities all wrong because we are a society that condones violence. We are a society that celebrates and makes heroes out of people who are violent. So then it's very easy for people to start blaming the victim or the survivor and asking her not to speak up.
According to a report released by the Kenyan government and the United Nations, at least 32% of girls under the age of 18 have experienced some sort of sexual assault. Bearing in mind that most people do not even report the assault when it happens, the real numbers are likely to be much higher. And that is why activists say that they are going to continue fighting to change the government's perspective, the authorities' actions towards the perpetrators, and the nation's mindset.
You can't put your hands on me. You don't know what my body has been through. I'm supposed to be safe now. I earned it. It's 2018 and I've realized that nobody is safe long as she is alive. And every friend that I know has a story like mine. And the world tells me we should take it as a compliment. But then heroes like Ashley and Simone and Gabby, Michaela and Gaga, Rosario, Ali, remind me this is the beginning, it is not the finale, and that's why we're here, and that's why we rally. It's Olympians and a medical resident, and not one fucking word from the man who is president. It's about closed doors and secrets and legs and stilettos from the Hollywood Hills to the projects and ghettos, when babies are ripped from the arms of teen mothers and child brides cry globally under the covers, who don't have a voice on the magazine covers. They tell us take cover.